Tom Holland, also known as Spider-Man, is even telling society about the Epstein files. Inside of today's video, we're going to be diving in and looking back to when he warned us and told us how he was literally scared of things going on inside of Hollywood relating to Epstein. Let's dive in and see what he had to say.
Really do not like Hollywood. It is not for me. The business really scares me. I understand that I'm a part of that business and I enjoy my kind of interactions with it. But that said, I am always looking for ways to kind of remove myself from it, to kind of just live as normal a life as possible.
Tom Holland has been dropping clues for years. Little hints, careful words, specific phrases. And when you line them all up next to the Epstein files that just went public, a very clear picture starts to form. Today, you're going to see every single one of those clues, broken down one by one.
When you think about all Hollywood actors and actresses who try to distance themselves from Hollywood, you will often think that it's because of, the spotlight, the highlight on them, and they just want their privacy. But we never stop to think that there were actually evil things going on inside of Hollywood that were making them not want to be a part of it and to try and hide themselves from it. You also have to wonder if these Epstein-related things are the dark secrets that were weighing on many actors, actresses, musicians, and artists' shoulders that led them to some terrible things.
I want to show you something, because when you lay out the timeline, it tells a story all by itself. 2016, Tom Holland becomes Spider-Man. He enters the Hollywood machine at 20 years old, young, excited, probably a little overwhelmed. 2019, Jeffrey Epstein dies. August, the network goes quiet. But, and this is important, the people in that network are still there, still working, still operating, still going to the same parties. 2020, Tom films Spider-Man: No Way Home. He is still deep inside Hollywood. 2023, Tom goes on Jay Shetty's podcast and says Hollywood terrifies him. He starts talking about wanting to leave. 2024, he is openly planning to quit, talking about disappearing, getting out. 2026, Epstein files drop, 3.5 million pages, and every word Tom said suddenly makes perfect sense. So ask yourself this, what happened between 2019 and 2023 that changed everything for Tom? Because something clearly did. He went from being fully in it to being completely done with it. And I don't think it was just burnout. Here's what I think happened. Tom was not at the Epstein Island parties. Let's be clear about that. But he was at Hollywood parties, the ones where the elite gather, where the real power players show up.
Yeah, so what he's saying is that there's a lot of things that went down outside of the island where a lot of people that were involved in island-related activities were.
It's not just Tom, because in May 2025, Zendaya sat down for a Vogue interview, and she said something that stopped me cold. She said she is incredibly anxious about raising kids in the spotlight. She wants to do her creative work and then disappear back into private life. Keep her kids completely away from Hollywood. Now, why? What does she know? Let's remember who Zendaya is.
And I think we already know what she knows. And she knows that it's not a safe place for children in Hollywood, being probably a child in Hollywood herself. So it completely makes sense that she wants to do her work, do her art, and do her business, and then take her family to a private place.
She has been in this industry since she was 13 years old.
Yep.
Disney Channel. She grew up inside Hollywood. She has literally spent her entire life in this world. So when she talks about wanting to protect her future kids from it, that's not just a normal celebrity thing to say. That's someone who has seen the inside of this machine for over a decade and is choosing to keep her family as far away from it as possible. She is saying the exact same thing Tom is saying. Get out, protect the family, stay invisible. And when two people who have been this deep inside Hollywood are both saying the same thing independently, that tells you something. Here's the part that really matters. The Epstein network did not disappear when Epstein died. The files exposed some names, not all of them. The people in that network are still out there, still working in the industry, still attending the events. Tom and Zendaya know this, and I think that's exactly what they're protecting themselves from. Here's the thing that I find the most interesting about all of this. Tom Holland has never mentioned Epstein by name. He has never accused anyone of anything. He has never pointed a finger at a single person. And you know what? I think that's completely intentional. Because Tom is smart, very smart. Look at his actions instead of his words. He avoids red carpets. He skips award shows. He doesn't do the Hollywood party circuit anymore. He doesn't show up at the events where the power players gather.
He literally stays away from anything besides being on set at the job, or at least as much as he possibly can, probably because he knows of all the terrible things that go on while there.
He could be everywhere. He chooses not to be. And then there's this quote. He said, "Once I have kids, I'm going to disappear. I'm
Wow.
going to be golf and dad."
Literally saying the same thing that the girl said just a few moments ago.
Now here's what jumped out at me. He didn't say retire. He didn't say take a step back. He said disappear. That word, disappear. Like he wants to become completely invisible. Like he wants to get totally off the radar. Off whose radar, though? That's the question. And then, and this is the one that really got me, in the Jay Shetty interview, he says this: "I understand I am part of that business, but I am always looking for ways to remove myself from it." Remove. Not distance himself, not take breaks. Remove. Like he's trying to extract himself from something that has actual hooks in him. Something that doesn't just let you walk away easily.
I have taken a break from social media for my mental health, because I find Instagram and Twitter to be overstimulating, to be overwhelming.
I'll tell you, we could probably all give this same message to our social media feed because it is overwhelming, overstimulating for all of us. That quick fix type of content.
I get caught up and I spiral when I read things about me online. And ultimately it's very detrimental to my mental state.
It's funny because when you think about it, years ago, 10, 15, 20 years ago, actors and actresses didn't have to see any of this. There was no social media for them to be able to see what everyone was saying about them, all the negativity, because keyboard warriors, people that will say all of these terrible things online because they're hidden online behind a PFP and a different personality. That's something that is now got to be very weighing on people that are famous, or really anyone that's online or in movies.
Think about what that means. He's been inside this world for 8 years. 8 years of Marvel, 8 years of premieres, 8 years of industry events and private parties. He knows who the players are. He knows how the system works, and he has decided he wants out before something goes wrong. Now, here's some important context, because Tom is not the first person to try to warn people about Hollywood, and the ones who were more direct about it, they didn't have great outcomes. Let me walk you through this quickly. Corey Feldman. This guy spent years talking about Hollywood child abuse. He went on TV, he begged people to listen. And what happened? He got called crazy. He got mocked. He got completely ignored for decades. Rose McGowan. She exposed Harvey Weinstein. She put her name on it. She went public. Her career got destroyed. She got labeled as difficult.
This is something we see happen all of the time, and we as a society need to do better because people like this are telling us what's going on, and we as a society say, no way, they must be crazy. The same thing happened with Roseanne Barr. Same thing happened with Mel Gibson. And now more examples are coming out as well. People have been trying to tell us about what's going on for a long time, but it's been falling on deaf ears. And even worse than falling on deaf ears, we're not only ignoring, we're looking at them and calling them crazy.
So Tom learned from watching all of that happen. He is not going to be Corey Feldman. He is not going to be Rose McGowan. He's not going to name names and blow the whole thing up and watch his life fall apart. Instead, he's just leaving. No accusations, no drama, no names. Just, I don't like Hollywood. It scares me. I'm going to be golf and dad. Here's the genius of that move. What can they do to him? How do you punish someone for choosing family over fame? How do you blacklist someone for saying they want privacy? You can't. Here's what I think we all missed. And I mean everyone. The media, the fans, the comment sections, everyone. Tom Holland did expose the network. He just didn't do it the way you'd expect. He didn't write a letter. He didn't go on a podcast and drop names. He didn't put out a statement. He exposed it by running from it.
Yeah, and he did it in a very safe way, trying to protect himself physically, mentally, emotionally, and to protect his career as well. If you call things out, historically, your career is over. So he played it very smart here, but he also didn't call out the man to try and expose anything either. He did it more to protect himself.
Quietly, carefully, at the height of his career. And that's actually way more telling than any list of names. Think about it this way. If someone came back from a party and just said, hey, something felt really off in there, I don't want to go back, you'd probably believe them. You wouldn't need them to give you a full report. The fact that they left is enough. The fact that they don't want to go back tells you something happened in there. Tom is 28. Zendaya is 29. They have literally their entire lives ahead of them. They are at the absolute peak of their fame right now, and they are both choosing to walk away at the same time. for the same reasons. That's not a coincidence. That's not burnout. That's two people who know something and are getting out while they still can. When the Epstein files dropped in 2026, 3.5 million pages went public. The world finally started to understand the size and scope of that network. And a lot of people started going back through old interviews, old statements, old moments that seemed small at the time. And Tom Holland's July 2023 Jay Shetty interview started making a lot more sense.
And that's the biggest thing here. Tom may have not been blowing up Hollywood or Epstein, but he was doing it in his safe way to protect himself, his future family, and his career.